Here we go. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. All right. This is my friend Laura. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. We're going to back in. There you go. That's the one, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'm so excited to talk to you. Okay. Because I think, first of all, let's start from scratch. Okay. Welcome. Welcome to this conversation. I am so excited to talk to you because this is the real journey. Like, we talk about it all the time. Like, what is this real life thing of becoming a real estate investor?
Mm-hmm.
Not, there's a lot of hopium. There's a lot of like fluffy stuff out there. And the reality of it is like once you pivot from the consumer of education and become a doer of something, and now you're in the shit, Laura.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure.
Your perspective is so good. Like, I don't want to name names. I'm not throwing people under the bus. I'm not doing anything, but I just want perspective. And I love your perspective. Okay. You just came back from a conference, all women, all co-living. That's a different conference. Co-living, right?
Yeah.
Empowered women talking about co-living.
Yeah.
And can you just please kind of walk me through that experience? We're going to talk about that. Okay. Because that was such an amazing feedback about like,
Yeah.
what the 2024 version of Laura would
Yeah.
have gotten out of that conference versus the 2025. So first of all, who are you today? Not who are you today?
Oh gosh. Okay. Yes. So I'm Laura. I am a real estate investor. And thanks. Yeah, it's cool. I just updated my LinkedIn yesterday. Very exciting.
First of all, that is so fire. As
I
the kids
know.
would say, that is so fire.
Everyone
I'm
I think
Laura. I'm a
like,
real estate investor.
it was just like blank. It looked like I just wasn't working. And I think everyone thought I got fired or something, which is fine.
You were building, baby. You were building quietly.
Just building, just working my butt off. I have acquired my first property, and it's exciting, it's scary, it's all the things. It's a roller coaster every single day, but I couldn't be happier about being on that journey. And yeah, in the middle of my renovation right now. It's going really well, surprisingly well, and I have a lot of work to do to get all my furniture and start figuring out how I get tenants and all of that. But yeah, it's going well, and
I want the world to understand how doable this is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You were so vulnerable and so honest with me when you were talking about like all the things that you had to overcome to go from thinking about it, I want to do it, I hope I can do it, to I'm jumping in and I'm just getting and do it. Can you kind of just talk through your mentals on how
I
you
can
overcome
try,
that?
because it's a surprising amount of things that I had to go through. I don't know if it's just my own personal experiences, my past, my, being a woman. I don't know, but I've always been very, pretty prioritizing, stability, and I'm already fumbling my words, but I've always believed in like traditional, choices, like my corporate career and my, 401k and all this stuff. And so, stability was just like my number one for a long time. And then I realized, that's not necessarily fulfilling me. And it's not what I know I want to be doing with my life, just because I'm getting those things that are traditionally stable. So, yeah, the changes, it's hard to describe because I'm also still in the middle of it. I'm currently trying to become best friends with imposter syndrome still, and a lot of fear still, but it is a lot smaller than it was. And so, yeah, I've honestly had a few like anxiety attacks, and you just have to keep going. Honestly, just one foot in front of the other. I've had to be okay with change, and just becoming whoever I need to be, knowing that I'm going in the right direction, and yeah, just being okay with that fear. And it's been a huge journey. Actually, it's probably the biggest thing because I know I'm capable. So all of the actual decision making and all of that stuff is not difficult for me. Um, it's the mental, and the mindset. So yeah, it's hard to describe, but it has been a huge journey, and just figuring out what you need to keep going is how I have moved forward.
Okay, let's get specific without
Yeah,
naming any names, without anybody else's things.
sure.
2024 version of Laura.
Yeah.
Talk through where you were a year ago, what groups you were in, like not the names, but like what kind of stuff you were doing and how you thought, I want to get into real estate.
Yeah.
And can you kind of like talk through the pivotal points for the last year that got you to today? I'm in it and I am on LinkedIn as a real estate investor. Like,
yeah, that is it's been a long journey. A year ago, I was in the thick of still my corporate career, working a lot of hours, but trying to save as much energy and time for myself as I could to work on real estate. Beginning of 2024 is when I came across co-living. I did immediately know this is the thing I want to do. I've been researching real estate for like 5 years, literally, very seriously, reading all the books and looking at all the strategies. And so immediately I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. But that was just the beginning of actually deciding, okay, this is the path I'm going to go, but how do I go down this path? And I was listening to Bigger Pockets. I was a part of the Better Life Tribe. I joined them in like 2023. They're a really great buffet of like all the different strategies. And I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about the best strategies, and co-living was one of them. And so then the person that was talking on that podcast, I just researched, what they're about, and they have a group as well. So I joined their group and just tried to start learning and meeting other people and trying to turn like just traditional like reading and learning into like what are people actually doing to try to figure out how do I make this happen. And then I felt like I was learning a little bit, but then there was the first co-living conference last year in June. And that was like another pivotal point for me. That's when I met you. And that's when I just got to see all of these people, really doing this and scaling and all of these things that I really hadn't come across or learned about yet. And so, yeah, I just like Velcroed to you and tried to learn as much as I could from you. And what else?
can I ask something on that? And this is,
Yeah.
I'm more curious than anything else.
Yeah.
Was there something specific around how you and I engaged? Because now I'm just curious, right?
It's gonna sound a little woo-woo, but like I just have a good feel for people, and I just was trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and I think just your personality, and I just immediately I could just tell that, when I get along with people, there's just like I get along with most people, but it's like there's a next level, and it's like, okay, this is a person I can really actually connect with, and like I have a good gauge for that, and so I just kind of immediately just kind of got that vibe from you. Yeah, that you're a great guy, you care, you love your family. I know those are all just words, but like I could feel it, and also you also live that. But it's another example of just putting myself out there because I didn't have any properties, a year ago, and my imposter syndrome was like driving the car. And so like I just kept telling myself, just talk to someone. And if I wouldn't have, started talking to you, we were on a bus, literally on a bus. And I was so scared. I just was. And I just kept trying to focus on what's the next thing that's going to push me outside of my comfort zone, because I'm not going to get where I want to go unless I do that. And just what's that one little thing. So yeah, talking to you, just starting a conversation with you has led me here, which is crazy to think about, but really encouraging as well. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And thank you. That's such a big compliment. And I am so thankful for you and grateful that we met, because
Yeah.
same thing, right? Like I talked to my friend Brad. He's a TV producer, executive producer previously, and he's now pivoting into this like coaching world.
Nice.
And he was asking me about it. He was just like, why do you want to do this? Because this is new for me. And like, I love talking with you because it helps me understand. We were just talking about this earlier. I thought it was like such a deep little niche square. Dude, I know more about this co-living thing than most people.
It's true.
Only because I've just had the ability and the opportunity to get so much breadth. But like when I talk to people like yourself, it was like, whoa, there's so much more to this real estate investor journey than just buy a house, convert house, put people in house, operate house. It was like, and that's that's been the most, to be honest, like the most fun part is watching you like evolve. Right? 2024
you're doing
version.
what you're meant to do.
Yeah. Like when you find like purpose, you've had a purpose, and so many people like they can't express it. Yeah. And like to know that you want to do co-living and you want to do affordable housing and you want to be purpose driven. And then like you're seeking the how. And there's so many people that are talking about the how. You just came back from this conference and we were just talking about like it's high level. Mm-hmm. But then in order to comfortably do something, you kind of got to get in the weeds, right?
Yeah.
So like, was that the tipping point for you? Is that you found somebody that would like hold your hand through it?
Yes, 100%.
Versus talk to you about it? Is that really the 100%. Distinction?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's, and yeah, I will just like sing your praises all day because that for me. I am very, I'm very resourceful. I'm a self-starter. I read all the things, but I was still struggling to get off the sidelines. And I think because everything was so conceptual, it was so, up here. And it's like, I do think, especially with things like this, you need someone to talk to you about your specific situation because everyone's situation is different. And even, just there's so much nuance that you need to understand what's best for you, and you need to have someone to talk to about it that is knowledgeable. I was, I was really struggling, and I was so anxious about like, how long have I been saying I'm working on my first property? And I just hated that I, just kept saying that for so long because I'm a doer. I am, but I knew like I didn't feel ready. Like I knew there were pieces missing. Or one piece, and it was like because you were able to look at my situation and be like, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to do. And when I have a plan, when I have, I got it. So you helped me actually come up with the real life plan, not just some conceptual stuff or whatever. And we got into the nitty gritty. That's just that was what was missing.
That's my journey. My boy Franco, out of California, like I love that he's on the West Coast because I'm not a sleeper. I'll call him at like 10:30 my time. And I'm like, Franco, what do I do with this deal? I think back to you and my conversations about the offer.
Yeah.
Hey, I think I'm going to make a really deep offer. Yeah. And it's like 10,000 less. And he was like, offer 50 less. I'm like, you can't do that. And
nobody's saying that. Nobody says that.
The conversation I have with you, I'm just like, oh my God, this is exactly the same conversation I have with my guy. And it's you're paying it forward, but it's like, if you think 10, it's because you don't know the possibilities and opportunities or you're fearful of them saying no. Right. And that's a big one for new investors. It's like this fear of missing out or fear of a better offer.
Fear of everything. There's just fear of everything, honestly, because I think you're already in a vulnerable position trying these new things. And it feels like, oh my God, I can't handle it. Or I can't, oh my God, it's just going to throw me off or whatever. I don't know. But you can handle it. And I think
I remember your phone call, by the way. I remember I tell my kids about that. I'm like, because I always talk about get over your fears. Right.
Yeah.
And you called, you're like, thanks. And I was just like, it was so awesome.
Cool. It was life-changing, honestly, life-changing. I just that happening, I was a different person. You know what I mean?
Because like the fear of they're going to say no. What if they say no? So what?
Yeah.
I could always change the offer.
Right. you
But
know?
what
It's not
if
like
they
anyone else,
say,
I picked the right property. No one
yep,
else was trying to buy it. So it's not like I'm in the
yeah.
bidding war or something. It'll work out one way or the other, you know?
And it's such a cool thing. Like, what if they say yes? You know? And
That
then
is
a
a great
new set
phrase
of
in
fears.
general. What if they say yes? Or what if it works out? Never thought about that.
Right. And now the new set of fears, like, oh, who do I get for GC? You know,
Yeah, of
like,
course. You're always unlocking a new fear. Maybe, I don't know, maybe when I have multiple properties, I won't be unlocking new fears, but maybe that's just part of it. You know, but what I was going to say. I think also just something else I wanted to comment on about like getting advice from you who, you know, you've actually done it and you're in the same position of being an investor. I think a lot of times we get advice from people who have different interests than we do and different, you know, skin in the game.
mhm.
And so the advice that they give is a bit more leaning towards their benefit and instead of yours. And so, you know,
Right.
like with the offer, you know, like there's like rules that are thrown around. I would never offer more than 10, you know, below or like 10% or something. And it's like, I think those come from real estate agents or something. Like, you know,
Everybody's got an angle, you
yeah,
know? And that's
yeah,
what people don't realize, especially because you're in this hopium phase
yeah.
where you're, you know, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed
Mhm.
and they look at you like a mark, which sounds so corny, but it's so
Yeah.
true. And like I think that's so not unnormal. And I think that's a lot of that comes from like where I grew up. Like I'm a Northeast Philly guy. Everybody had an angle, you know, and like so like people talk about like you know cynical and all this other stuff. I'm like, dude, everybody had an angle. So
Yeah.
like since I was 8 years old, I was like, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I don't think that's cynical. I think it's realistic, honestly. I mean,
everybody's trying to make money,
they
especially
are.
like
Everyone's out here for themselves, and that's just human nature, you know? So,
yeah.
you know, it doesn't have to be like, "Oh, this is, you know, some sort of horrible." It's just no, we're all
As long as you understand the rules,
yeah,
and like I say this about everything, if you understand the rules in the sandbox, we can have a good old time and play,
right.
right? It's when you
Yeah.
get bushwhacked
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, that I got taken advantage of, right? That's the feeling. You're like, mother flip. And like usually people call that tuition. And I tell you all the time about my first project was like, I got bushwhacked
Yeah.
because I went in there,
Right.
well, they know more than I do.
Right.
And I
That's a
gave them
very prevalent feeling. I've felt
right,
that a lot, and I have to be like, "No, no, no, no." Or you tell me, "No, no, no, no."
right.
You know,
Challenge
you
it.
know enough,
What
you know, and you need to advocate for yourself and you can't just yeah, if you don't defend yourself or like be prepared you know, with your approach, someone else is going to have theirs and you need to have your own and
yeah. And it'll come like every project is a learning project. Every project, the tuition gets less and less. Like
yeah.
instead of being so much on the receiving end of it, you're now dictating stuff to, you know, and that's my relationship I'm having with my GCs for these projects now. It's like, that was your suggestion. This is my want.
Yeah.
I'm writing the check. Do what I want, please.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we could do that. Because like before it was kind of like what they said was law, you know? And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not the case. And
Yeah.
then
I
you get
will
this agency and like this confidence to be like, I have ideas and intentions because this finished product is going to be mine. And that's what I love about talking with you. It's like you get it because we talk about reverse engineering. What is your product? What is your brand? And then
yeah.
back into everything else. Because these things that they don't talk about it. They don't talk about like once you acquire this thing, then you convert it into this thing. No, in our world, you can't buy a church and turn it into a laundromat. You gotta buy a damn laundromat,
Yeah.
right? And then adapt the laundromat to the business that you want. You got to layer in delivery service. You got to layer in dry cleaning. But like you
Yeah.
apples don't turn into oranges and like these a
No.
lot of people have a hard time understanding that.
Yeah. And I think we also spend a lot of time trying to pay other people to do things that
So true.
we don't even understand enough ourselves. And we think that it's handled or I'm going to get this because I paid someone else to do it. And I think that's a pitfall that you've just talked about quite a bit that like has resonated so well with me that just because I hire, a property manager or whatever, doesn't mean everything's taken care of. Just because I put my property on this thing doesn't mean I'm going to get a ton of people interested in my property, or the best people. And it's like, I think there's an outsourcing type of like trap a little bit, where like I need to do it first. I need to figure it out first. And then if there's some sort of additional benefit, to hiring someone, that's great. I will come across that later, but like you have to kind of go through that first,
Right. And that just so you know, so normal. The only reason I have so many bumps and bruises and cynicism is because I've owned previous businesses where I was the president, I was the HR person, I was the finance person, I was the distribution person, I was the organizer, I was the holiday party planner. Like all of that crap happened at some point. Most of our investors, very few of them started as entrepreneurs and then came to real estate. I worked really hard in a W-2, earned good living, and I want to pivot into this. And this is typically their first foray into becoming an entrepreneur. So that itself is a life lesson, let alone the real estate piece. You got this other piece, which is like,
it's still
how to be
those
the
are
owner.
both huge pieces. Yeah. And I don't think the business owner aspect is maybe talked about enough at all.
God forbid, until we get talking about taxes. Like that conversation is like wait a minute.
I know.
How many LLCs do I need to run this one business? But you don't know until you don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it, is like your journey is so much fun for me to watch, because it's just proof and point that like you can become anything. You can't be a 6'7" basketball player. We know this.
Sure.
But in the business world, your LinkedIn titles can change.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're adapting. And like you talk about like, well, people didn't know what I was doing. And this is where, Instagram reels are real. You change in silence.
Yeah.
You don't have
no time to tell anyone, no energy. It's like, that's not my priority. I'm working.
So they call that the silent phase, where like the lonely phase. Sorry. So you went from this version of yourself to this version.
Yeah.
You don't fit in here yet, and you don't fit in here anymore.
No.
So this lonely journey, and that's why I think the mentorship and the coaching part is so important, because if you don't have somebody shepherding you or sherpaing you,
nice.
in between base camps, it's like,
I think it can get very lonely, and I think you can, get a little lost. Definitely especially when you're like your own little echo chamber, you're like overthinking everything already, and then you don't have anyone to bounce it off of. It is lonely. And so I think having a guide is like invaluable. I don't know how I would have gotten here without you. And it's cheesy, but honestly, I am becoming someone I've always wanted to be. And
it's so cool. What a cool statement to go.
I know it just sounds corny, but it's true. And it's cheesy, but I feel like I'm dreaming sometimes, and I mean, I already talked about it. There's still so much fear and imposter syndrome, but I do feel like I'm dreaming that I'm doing something really tangible and meaningful with my time and my energy, and building something that I truly care about. And I didn't think you could like make money and help people. I really didn't. I've been searching for it for a long time. I just hadn't found it. So I didn't think it was going to happen. And I kept looking, and I found co-living, and it's just crazy to me. And
I can't wait to see how you are as an operator. I know like you're getting all the background, you're getting all this like knowledge around like different tactical ways you want to do it. But I have found fundamentally, you gotta care. Like in our world, like so I found this parable that I love so much right now. And it talks about bricklayers. So the parable goes simple like this. It's like 1666, London burned down. And then the world's most famous architect, Christopher Wren, was commissioned to rebuild St. Paul's Cathedral. So 10 years later, middle of the construction, he goes to the job site, and there's 3 men laying bricks. One guy's squatting nice and slow. Guy's like half squatting, he's working a little bit faster, and one guy's standing tall. and working the fastest and leading. So he goes to the first guy and goes, "What are you doing?" Because I'm a bricklayer. I lay bricks because I got to feed my family. Okay. Goes to the second guy. "What are you doing?" "I'm building a wall because that's what I do. I build walls." Goes to the third guy and he's fastest moving. He's leading the group and he goes, "I'm building a cathedral for the God Almighty." So like that speaks so much to what I think in our world.
Yeah.
Like if you have purpose,
Yeah.
you do it with such vigor and like you're willing to do these things.
I agree. I do.
And the other way I look at that is also in dynamic marketplaces, all three can exist.
Yes, and I think they do.
And I think that's the interesting part about how we're attacking affordable housing is Uber share, Uber regular, Uber black. And I always use that analogy because people are aware of it. Like
it's a good
it can
one.
exist in affordable housing,
right?
But you have to attack each one differently. That's why I have such affinity for folks like yourself. You're like, I want the mission to work. Yet I'm on the other side of it as an entrepreneur. You have to know how to make money.
Absolutely. They go hand in hand.
Because if you can put on a good product, in your case, 6 stores are coming. That's going to be a good product with a good experience. 7, sorry.
That's cool.
And if you put on a good product and you make money because you're a good operator, 7 more doors of good affordable housing come on.
Yeah.
So it's like good begets good.
Yeah.
And it's like so many of these little like sayings like pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered. Like these things really apply in our world.
They do. There's a lot of really cool cheesy quotes that are like, that's actually real. I don't care. I don't care how cheesy it sounds. It's so true. And I don't know. I just think it's motivating when you care. And I think you can just tell the other people that care. And I think you put out a better product. I just do. And I think people like it better and people stay longer. And it's like, it's just all win-win. And it just is a weird positive, cycle. Usually we talk about cycles of things that are negative, but like it's a weird positive, type of cycle. And I see other people doing it. And that's what I'm trying to do and trying to be confident in my, perspective on it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of other people that I'm still trying to learn from, but I'm developing, my own approach because I do care and I'm figuring out how care translates into my property, while still obviously making money, but
That is so cool. It's so cool because I can't tell you how many people see themselves in you. Because I have this conversation all the time, right? It's like how many people are stuck and how rare you are that you started. Like start, the rest is easy. It's one of my favorite sayings, right? It's so true because like it's that initial momentum and inertia that's so hard to get going.
Yeah, it was a long distance between the sideline and the starting line, and getting off of it. But again, it was a big part was meeting you and figuring out my specific situation.
It's interesting. Like I went to a conference a couple weeks ago and they had a panel and it was really interesting. They asked the question. They were like, if you had $10,000, what's the first thing you would do to start your business? And like some guys were talking about, I do this. And like one guy, actually 2 out of the 4 people were like, I would spend half the money and find coaches. And then the other half, the guy was like, this one guy was interesting. He's like, there's a difference between a guru coach and a performance coach. And it was the first time he registered to me, right? It's like you can have a head coach on a football team.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a performance coach that helps you show up every single day and do the little things that allow you to play the game, those are 2 distinctly different things. And I was like, wow, like,
that's a really good way to put it. You do need someone like walking side by side with you. There's a lot of people that will talk about the concept and talk about their doors and talk about what they've got going on and like tell you this like generic kind of formula to follow. But sometimes that's not even the right formula for you. And you need that person that's with you, in the details.
Yeah, that was my biggest fear, to be quite honest. I was like, dude, I don't have $50 million in properties. Like, I don't have $700 doors to speak of, but like
Yeah.
I got a lot of bumps and bruises that are really recent.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I just happened to be in a space where I was like so in it, you know, that the perspective was there. But that's
Yeah.
what I love about it is like I'd much rather find people like you, get it early so that you don't buy bad. And then
Yeah. I'm so grateful. I didn't buy before I met you.
we talk about this every day. We keep meeting people. You can't unscrew somebody, you know,
Sadly, no.
come into our space wanting to do co-living,
Yeah.
thinking, and they got just misguided. And then they're left with this thing where it'll be the last property they ever buy.
I know.
Because like like there's so much money embedded in this first property. And
Yeah.
you and I were
All
just
the
talking
money
about
they
this
have.
earlier. You're like,
Yeah.
it's you feel sad now. And that was the
I
thing I
do.
loved about what you
I
said.
almost went down that path. And
You're
I
like, my perspective
oh,
today is so different than it was before, you know,
absolutely.
and you have empathy for these people. You're like, God, I can.
I do. I
Yeah.
almost was them. I almost would have needed to try to, unscrew myself. And yeah, I'm just grateful, and I hope we can spread the word or find other people that are willing to spread the word, because there's just so much potential, and I think it's a really great space for women. There's obviously a lot of men doing a great job. You're doing a great job, but I think it is a really good space. That women care. That there's a lot.
I love women hosts because
Yeah,
they bring the soft pieces, which is the
yeah,
business. The business of what we do that
yeah,
makes money is hospitality.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the nuances they bring and the empathy they bring and
yeah.
the way they bring it is so much better. And like, no knock on guys, but like most of
No.
my tips that I talk about, I steal from women. I'm like, oh, bedding coming in warm, cozy. Like guys are like, how much does it cost? You
Yeah,
know, and I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah.
And those are
No,
the
guys, but
things.
yeah, women have a knack, they
Yeah,
do, and so I think it's just a fantastic business for women, and it's a small amount of women right now, and I would just love to see more women get into it, but yeah, there's a lot of pitfalls, and if they buy wrong the first time, that might be the last one, and that's terrible. So I'm
right.
hoping
Right.
I'm hoping more of your kind of messaging can get out there for these women, and I
You're
mean for
messaging,
anyone.
dude. This is what you're doing. You know, like we are
I'll help
doing
where
this
I can.
together, you
Yes.
know?
Okay. Yeah.
That's so awesome. All right. I'll talk to you next week because I love talking with you. But have a
Absolutely.
fantastic
Thanks
day.
for
You're
having
the best. Bye,
me. You too.
Laura.
I'll talk to you soon.